What's up everyone, Steven here with techmaker.tv. This is building a decentralized chat with Node JS and aleph.im part 6. In the last episode, we hooked up our index page to pull back all of the messages from the network and show them on the screen. In this episode, we're going to go ahead and hook up our form to actually submit asynchronously so that we don't reload the page, and then listen for WebSocket events coming back from the network so that we can add messages as we get them. So that's the idea. Obviously, this doesn't look like much yet. So I want to say the next episode, we're going to really kind of build this out in terms of the style. I'm kind of thinking I did another chat application a little while back in Rails with Action Cable. And I'm thinking I might grab some of the styling from that because it was pretty nice. We may change it up a bit. I'm not sure. But in any case, I just want this to look good before we go too much further with this. But that's not what we're doing today. Today, we're going to get this hooked up with WebSockets. But before we do that, the first thing we need to do is hook up our form to submit asynchronously. So what I'm going to do, and I know this is a bit out of fashion, but I am going to use jQuery just because I'm the most familiar with it, and I don't want to get hung up trying to do that in just vanilla JavaScript for now. The other thing I'm going to do is go ahead and put this at the top and then maybe put like an HR here so that it kind of has a delineation just for now. Let's refresh and see what that looks like. So now we have our text area up here. So the reason for this is so now when we submit something, it should actually show up at the top. It's not actually going to show up anywhere because we haven't instructed our route to do anything after a successful message goes across. So let's get all of that working and see what that looks like. So first of all, sorry for jumping around so much. Let's go and grab jQuery CDN. And I'm just going to get the latest, I guess I just want like a minified. And I'm going to put that up here in my head tag. And that should give me access to a $sign. So let's go ahead and set up another script tag here. Actually, I'm going to put this one at the bottom of my body tag down here. Type equals text JavaScript. I don't know if that's technically needed, but I like to add it. So what we're going to do is say $sign document.ready. And then I'm just going to console.log out that this is all working here. So console.log, it is working. Something like that, doesn't really matter. Let's go back over here. Let's open up our developer tools. Don't need the mobile preview on. And let's just refresh and see what happens here. So it's working. So what we want to do, and again, this is all very rudimentary right now, and that's on purpose. Things will get more complicated as we go. I'm going to add an ID to my form, and it's just going to be message form or something like that. I guess that's fine. What I want to do is basically just capture that event of that form being submitted. So we'll say message dash form down here, and then do dot submit. And then we need to capture the event. And then let's do e.prevent default. And then let's console.log out the, let's say, this same form.serialize. And let's see what that looks like. So this should keep our form from submitting, basically. So now nothing should happen. But we have this message equals ASDF down here. So basically it's putting that in the params. So let's go ahead and hook up a post request with Ajax basically, and just submit the form and pass along our serialized form in the data. So we should be able to down here, instead of console.logging, essentially what I think we can do is just go $.post, and then we need to give it the route, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, is /messages, and then we'll just pass along that data. So that might actually be all we need to do here, so, or at least just to get it working. So we refreshed here. I have a missing parenthesis somewhere. Yeah, that one. I don't know why I have one in the front. I guess I don't need that one actually. Okay, so let's refresh and see if that fixed it. Okay, cool. So you can see that our ASDF that we tried to post didn't actually post because we didn't send that anywhere. We just console logged it. Let's just do testing again. There's a lot of people that might be me saying testing again. Testing again too, so we know. So we'll post. Let's go over here. Let's see if we got anything coming across. For each is not a function. I don't know if that was me just now or what. So we didn't get any errors that are obvious to me. So let's refresh and just see. So you can see that we did post to the network, even though we didn't see anything come through the logs really. So the last thing I'm going to do is actually go ahead and just clear this field. So what we can do is say in our, let me pull this back down. We can actually grab our form again, and we can do .val and then pass in an empty string, and that's going to clear that. And I don't know if we really need to do this, but we can do blur just in case. Well, it's a text area, so you can't hit enter. You actually have to click the button. So I'm not going to worry about that. That's just going to basically reset the form. So let's just go try this. This is our front end for this episode here, basically. So testing 3, we'll post, and it did not. Oh, I need to actually find the text area. My bad. So we'll say text area. So let's refresh. Test area clear. Test text area clear. Okay, so now that goes away. So now what we need to do is get the WebSockets working. So when we submit this, the second we pick that up from the network, it's going to get added down here. Now, by the same token, if anybody else anywhere else in the world submits something, we're also going to get that here. So, and as you can see, there's a lot of people who are posting all sorts of stuff. So anyway, that's cool. So let's go ahead and get that working. So there's a built-in WebSocket library called Websocket, and I've got a URL which I'm not going to type out manually. I'm just going to paste it in here. So I'm going to say, first of all, just to explain what I'm doing, I'm going to explore this a little bit here in the browser, in the console. If you follow this channel much, you'll see that I tend to work through things very incrementally just to kind of get my head around how it works before I go try to start writing a bunch of code. That's on purpose. That's after a lot of experience of, you write a whole bunch of code and then for some reason it doesn't work and it's just too mysterious. I like to take it bit by bit so that we can actually kind of see when something goes wrong. So what I'm going to do is say, let's just say const socket equals new WebSocket, and then I'm going to give it this URL here, and it's wss://api2.aleph.im/api/ws0/messages ? MSG type equals post message type, and then content type equals chat. So once you get that typed out, basically all you need to do is we need to create a function for or we need to define what to do on a socket message. So what I mean by that is if we type in socket dot, and then you can actually cycle through here in the console and see what all sorts of stuff that you can define. Now socket has a default thing that we can declare called onMessage. So what do we do when we get a message? So for now, I'm actually just going to define a simple function, give it the event. This is basically what we did in our demo with the WebSockets that we did. I'll put a This will all be in a playlist at some point, and that'll be on the probably one of the first episodes. But in any case, you can find it on the channel pretty easily. So define a function. It just takes an event, and all I'm going to do is console .log, and then I'm going to JSON parse, and then we'll say e.data. I think that I'm good on parentheses there. And so you can see the function gets defined. So now we're just waiting for something to come through. So if I come over here now and I put another message, we'll post, and it'll take just a second, and then you'll see this come through here. So what we're going to do is just take this little snippet of code, and we're going to paste this inside of our JavaScript, and we'll obviously clean that up because it's going to be a mess. But instead of just logging it, obviously we're going to push this to the top. So let's go ahead, and we want to still be in our document ready, I believe. And again, I'm sorry, I'm just using jQuery. You know, that's a little bit old school here, but it's what I'm doing today because it's the easiest for me, and I don't have a ton of time these days. So I want to make sure I'm getting content out instead of trying to make it perfect. So we've got our, let's say let message equal e.data, and I'm going to JSON parse that. And you know, there may need to be error handling in here. I haven't really tested all of this that much to know what it should or shouldn't check for. But for now, we're just going to assume that there is going to be data. Let's go, not there. Let's go back over to the browser for a sec. So what do we have? So we have, where's the actual message? It's item content again. So we have item content, and we'll need to actually JSON parse that. Interesting. Well, what's in content? So we have content.content.body. That's pretty nested. That's okay. So we'll have message, and then we'll say let content equal message.content.content.body. And that's, so we're defining message as the top level object. I just need to double check that. So that's going to be this top level object. So this is message, and then we have to call .content.content.body. So we're going to want to make a lot more use of the data that's actually in there, but for now, I'm not going to worry with it. We're just going to basically use the actual text that's being added. So the next thing I'm going to do is actually just do, well, first of all, let's come up here and set this equal to unordered list ID equals message list, maybe messages list. And what I'm gonna do is just prepend the message now. So we'll have messages list, and we'll do dot prepend, and then I'm going to give it an li, and let's see, I think well, actually, you know what, I think we can do basically these backticks here, and we'll do li and $. So we'll do like a string interpolation. We'll do content, and then we'll do li. Close that. Okay, so let's give that a try and see what happens. So if we refresh over here, testing via browser plus sockets. Let's just see what this does. So there we go, testing via browser plus sockets. So obviously this is needing a lot in terms of user interface, and I think I'm going to spend some time designing some stuff. We'll start by just getting something kind of rudimentary together that looks significantly better than this. But I'm not sure where we go from here. But at this point, we have a pretty functional thing. So yeah, I got to think about exactly what to do next. I'm probably going to just go straight into trying to create a cool looking design for this particular chat. But what we're going to want to be able to do pretty quickly is obviously define rooms. I think I've got an idea of forming for this, because if we look back over at, let me go ahead and add a quick console log here. Where am I at? I just want to console.log the message. So I've got an idea, and I think it's pretty interesting. So we saw them all come in just there. That's interesting. I'm wondering if I'm loading them all twice somehow. In any case, so basically, that's giving me more information than I expected. Let's post something here and let's log it out and take a look at it. So we may have something else going on. Not sure. So I've got some ideas, like what we can do with like this sender address, for example. Like, I think it would be cool to make kind of a chat where you can have a private community and you can request access and then you can get approved and all this stuff, and it's fully decentralized. So as long as you have access to the address here, you could be using anybody's user interface but still have access to all of your groups and content, something like that. So maybe you can create public and private channels and things like that. I don't know. I'm going to map out some features that I think are pretty cool, but the next mission we need to accomplish is getting this to look like something better than this. So with that said, hopefully you're enjoying this. Should get a little bit more interesting going forward, but we got the base set up, so that's pretty cool. All of that said, thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next episode.